Welcome back to another episode of our Ask the Roofer series. I'm here with Matthew Query from Freedom Home Inspections. Really good friend of mine. We've known each other for 6-7 years.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
A while. Used to be Freedom Construction, where you were a general contractor. I actually worked for him doing roofing and stuff like that. So that's ancient history. You've been in home inspections, doing that side of the industry.
Yep.
And we were talking before, and you said you wrote a blog. You posted, or you're getting ready to post it?
Yeah.
About the benefits of having someone who's experienced in construction.
Yeah.
Look at your home in the inspection process, as opposed to somebody who's just a trained inspector but hasn't really been a builder or anything. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. The process of becoming a home inspector, while difficult, is not impossible. A lot of larger home inspection companies can hire, younger guys that are willing to go out and get it, and train those guys for what to look for. But over 12 years of experience I've had in the new construction industry, you see a lot of stuff that you can't read in a book.
Yeah. It's like working in the back of a restaurant. Once you've been back there, and you go to a restaurant afterwards, you're like, oh, I see that, I see that, I see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you've gotten dirty, you've washed the dishes, you've cooked the food, you know the ins and outs of it for sure. No, it's interesting because as a builder, working for a couple different companies, I've run up to 30 to 35 houses just myself in multiple different communities, sometimes even in multiple different code jurisdictions. So with that, not that I wanted to do a bad job, but I didn't have time to spend 3 or 4 hours in a house.
Correct, yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to see every house.
And as a builder, you're bringing in subcontractors. And
absolutely.
It could even be a great subcontractor, but if they have one guy who's having a bad day, or if they have a new guy that's not necessarily good at his job, that can make everybody up the chain look bad and can create some very costly mistakes too.
Absolutely. And even as far as like working with different code jurisdictions, the county enforcement officials, great guys, but they also have a lot to look at.
Yeah.
And they got to get through umpteen different inspections. I think one guy I talked to, even in just Mecklenburg County, had like 40 inspections in one day.
Jesus.
Knew he wasn't going to get to it. But as a builder in new construction, you're really building the house to appease the inspector.
Yeah.
So I'm a man of integrity. I'm going to do the right thing always. But when a code enforcement official comes in and says he's not going to take a look at your roof trusses because it wouldn't fall back on him if there were a problem, there's flaws in the system. But that's where home inspectors come in, and they bring great value. And that's where I bring my construction experience. And
what are some common things you see? And obviously there's thousands of different issues, but some common things you see that are missed or done incorrectly, like consistently.
Well, as far as pre-existing homes, just contractors that come in and do work in areas where they're not going to be viewed as easily, such as in the crawl space or in the attic. One home in particular, I felt so bad for the lady. She'd paid a contractor to come in and completely gut the house, and the crawl space was about yay tall, and the amount of structural deficiencies I found in that crawl space was astronomical.
Wow.
And it's sad because there are people out there that will take advantage of the fact that people aren't going to get into those places. But again, that's why you pay me the big bucks to get to go into those.
Well, you say big bucks, it's not even that expensive.
It's not. No, the average inspection is probably $350. And it takes me, I'll spend three hours at the house sometimes. If it's an older home, it typically takes longer.
And several more hours writing up.
Yeah, exactly. It could take 3 to 4 hours writing up the report. So it's a very beneficial service and very inexpensive service as well.
I mean, for the liability and the protection, I mean, you pay money for your insurance and everything. It's very similar. You're paying to protect your interest, protect your home.
Yeah.
We've seen some crazy stuff like that. We've done roof repairs before, or quoted roof repairs, and obviously we're going to quote, hey, this is what you can get away with if possible, but it's going to last 6 months, and then hey, this is how to properly fix something. We quoted this one lady, and I think it was like $750. It was a whole chimney reflash in a really hard to get to location. It was like 2.5 stories up on a steep roof, and it was rough. Another gentleman came at a later time and quoted her. He's like, oh, well, let me take a look. Went up there, did some work, came back down, said, you owe me $250. And she's like, I didn't even tell you to do the work. And so we had taken pictures in our inspection like we always do. So we went back, and he had just literally taken pieces of metal, caulked the side and caulked the bottom, and stuck them in there and stepped them down. And it leaked the next time it rained.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And so we were able to show her that, hey, this is what it looked like when we were there, and this is what he did, and it does you no good.
Yeah.
Well,
I know I've called you out when I worked for a previous company.
Yeah.
You know, I trusted you to come over and make sure that another contractor that was the original contractor had done it right. And the fact of the matter was they didn't. And in one case particular, I remember they made the problem worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it pays to have a company of integrity that's going to look out for your best interests, and not just the dollar figure to go out and check something out. I'll come out all day long and do a visual inspection, tell you what I think. I've been doing that for my friends even before I was making money doing it.
Yep.
So just something I'm passionate about. Want to make sure people are
we need protected. It in this area too.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. We have a legitimate revenue stream off of other roofing contractors that do poor work, and we have to go back and fix it, which it's a bad situation, but we talk so much about vetting people, back checking them, and I mean, we're an open books. Like, if we do something, we want to show you pictures that, hey, this is what we did, this is why we did it.
Yeah.
But there's so many issues you can see and that.
And you're a Charlotte company.
Yeah.
Like, you are in Charlotte. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina.
We're in other places too.
Well, exactly. but like right now we're in Charlotte, and there are lots, especially when you get like hailstorms.
Oh, yeah.
Like big storms, you get storm chasers, and that's when you really got to be careful, right? Because those guys are horror stories about the taking money and running.
We've seen, even after Hurricane Matthew, which is not too distant past, tons of companies coming in, and they're not doing good work at all, and it causes problems down the road. So
why do you think that is? Do you think it, I guess I have an idea. Is it because they don't have a relationship? Integrity? Well, that, and they don't have a relationship with local crews.
Yeah, they don't. A lot of times it's the qualifications for doing roof work here, or you have a truck and you have a ladder, and you were doing sheetrock yesterday, but today you're a roofer. So I think it's just an all-around lack of care for longevity, legacy. Everybody's playing the short game. Like, hey, we want to sign this check and have a commission at the end of the week, and go buy a boat. They're not looking at 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So they'll be here and gone a year or less, and they make some money, and they're like, oh, why is business so hard? But they're not thinking about down the road, so they don't care how their work reflects them. They just want to collect that check. It's their whole goal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's our goal too, is to collect a check, but
absolutely,
for us, we want to collect a check for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
We want to be here with a reputation of, hey, we do proper work, and we're building legacy, we're building a company, we're providing a good product, we're solving a problem. So it's just a different mentality.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see that same with builders. I'm sure you see it with home inspectors, where they just come in, oh, here's my check off list, and you're good to go.
Yeah, one of the things that caused me to want to jump into home inspections was what I saw on the builder side, receiving the home inspection.
Yeah.
And being really frustrated. Like,
oh yeah,
I know I'm building a good quality house, And yeah, I missed some stuff, so I'm grateful for the fact that they found some stuff that I overlooked. I'm only human.
Working with that many houses, there's going to be oversight, and that's why there's a second layer.
Yeah, but to come in and be a rabble rouser, to
trying to legitimize why they were there.
Exactly. I don't need to legitimize my place in the world. That comes from my Heavenly Father, so I don't have to worry about that. But when an inspector comes in and makes you feel bad about your purchase or worries about it, makes you worry about it, that's not fair. And I don't want to do that. I want to use common sense language. I've obviously got to put disclaimers, legally, because that's just the world we live in. But bottom line is, I want to make sure that my clients know what they're getting, and what's actually really a legitimate issue, and what you really should push back on to get fixed before you go to closing, rather than, this is something I saw on the internet, and I'm going to put this link in here and scare you about your purchase.
We see a lot of times, and obviously for roofing, inspectors don't get on roofs. But across the board, I've seen some reports that the entire report was they take a picture of something and there was copy and pasted, have a licensed contractor inspect this issue. They didn't really document or call out. They just snapped pictures and it was just like he just did the minimum he could and left. And that did no good for the homeowner. Just psyched them out of, oh man, this property's in a horrible condition because I need a contractor for every single thing to see what's really going on. So
and I put that in my disclaimer at the beginning paragraph of a section, and it's almost grayed out. It's like smaller subtext because it's not the important part. It's there to cover me in the event something happens or whatever. But the big information, I don't put. You need every single section in HVAC. Call an HVAC contractor. Call a plumbing contractor. Call a roofing contractor. I mean, you've got to call a roofing contractor. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm not allowed, per the standards of practice of North and South Carolina, I can't actually do work on a home for 12 months after I've done the inspection. So I have zero,
no
benefit.
Conflict of interest.
I have no conflict of interest. I have zero benefit for calling an item out. I'm there legitimately to try to help the client. So
great.
Yeah.
We're gonna put your information here so people can find you. If you have home inspection questions, I know we hit a very broad kind of.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about some other stuff in other videos. But if you have home inspection questions, please put them in the comments, or things you're concerned about or issues. We can talk about siding, roofing, windows, that kind of stuff. But anything outside of that, I mean, we'll have Matt throw his expertise out there. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching another episode of our Ask the Roofer video series. If you like the content, please like, share, or subscribe here on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, whichever way you prefer to see it. And if you have questions, we'd love to get your input, see what you want to learn about, and do our best to help explain those things to you.